Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here in the What a Juice channel, and welcome back to another Madden rebuild. Today's rebuild is not going to be like a normal one where we just take a bad team and we rebuild them to make them into a Super Bowl champion. That's not what today's is going to be about. Obviously, you guys know the kind of crazy, almost historic kind of moment that Josh Dobbs had recently in real life, where he was playing okay on the Arizona Cardinals. He was playing good enough to look like a competent NFL quarterback. Obviously, he's on a really, really bad Cardinals team. But then Kirk Cousins tears his ACL, tears his Achilles is what I meant to say. Tears his Achilles and is out for the season. Although, if Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, why can't Kirk Cousins come back? So, Kirk Cousins out for the season. The Vikings have Jaren Hall, I think, is their backup quarterback, rookie from BYU. And we know how BYU quarterbacks have worked out. So, he's going to get the start. But at the trade deadline on Halloween, the Vikings made a trade for, I think, a 6th round pick to the Cardinals to bring in Josh Dobbs. And then the next Sunday, that same week, that Sunday, was their first game with Jaren Hall. Or it's Jalen Hall. It's something like that. And he goes in first quarter, I think it was, or maybe first drive even. Tries to run into the end zone, takes a huge shot, lowers his shoulder, gets concussed. He's out for the rest of the game. Josh Dobbs has to come in with only within days of being traded. Doesn't know anybody on the team. Doesn't really know the playbook. The offensive line doesn't know his cadences. So he's kind of screwed, but he goes in there and wins the game for the Minnesota Vikings. They had an improbable couple of drives, and Josh Dobbs won them that game. So, in the spirit of what Joshua Dobbs has done recently in the NFL this year, I was inspired to do a rebuild where I take a bunch of players that are either maybe a little bit past their prime or not really thought of highly anymore, or you could even say just pretty much a bust. And I've compiled a team of them together, and we are going to try and rebuild that team and win a championship with that team. And I'm hoping that I can keep the team mostly the same. It's not going to be a traditional rebuild where I try to get like crazy free agents and I try to sign or try to draft crazy draft picks. Obviously, I'm still going to try to draft fairly well, but I want the core of the championship team to hopefully end up being the team that I've assembled already, pre-assembled basically. So without further ado, let's go meet the team and see how this rebuild is actually going to play out. So hope you guys go and enjoy. If you do, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's get started. We have arrived at the team. This is what we're going to be working with here. Now, you may be seeing this list of players, this grouping of players, and being like, Juice, some of those guys are still pretty good in the league, or some of those guys still have potential. And I'm going to get to that. So, obviously, I couldn't have done this rebuild if it wasn't for Josh Dobbs. So, he is going to be our guy. And I'm going to, I think he's wearing number 16 for the Vikings. Is that number available? It is. I think that's the number he's wearing. And if Josh Dobbs keeps playing well, he might get a face scan in Madden. We also have Sam Darnold and we have Jameis Winston. I felt like I couldn't do a video like this without these two guys because they're two of the most infamous quote-unquote bust quarterbacks in recent memory. So I had to, and Jameis is just a meme anyway, so I had to bring these guys along with the ride. And I'm hoping that in simulation they keep Josh Dobbs as the quarterback, even though he's a lower overall than all these guys. I have adjusted the schemes and the playbooks. We're running Kansas City and Dallas just so I can get the best results from Josh Dobbs, because obviously he's the quarterback I want to lead the team. and hopefully win a championship with, because this video is kind of technically based around him. He's 28 years old, been in the league for a while, a somewhat recent journeyman, really. He was on the Steelers, he got drafted there, then I think he went to the Browns, he went to the Raiders. I think he was on the Raiders at one point as a backup quarterback, then he went back to the Browns, then obviously Cardinals and Vikings. He's been on a few teams in the last year and a half, so a bunch of teams. Just Google his Wikipedia if you're ever curious. But he's going to be our starting quarterback, hopefully, unless the CPU, when I sim, it changes. I'm hoping that it doesn't. Not Josh Dobbs, J.K. Dobbins, who I don't consider a bust, but he cannot really stay healthy. J.K. Dobbins is what I fear Travion Henderson is going to turn out to be, because J.K. Dobbins coming out of Ohio State was unreal. So good. He had that explosiveness, he had that power, he was low to the ground, he had all you want out of a running back. He could catch the football somewhat. We're not going to talk about the play at Ohio State where he dropped it. He should have caught it. Whatever. He was like the do-it-all running back that you want, and then he just can't stay healthy. ACL injuries, Achilles injuries, whatever it may be. J.K. Dobbins just can't stay healthy, so I would throw him in this tier. But he's a very good player. Very, very good player. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has never really lived up to the quote-unquote hype that he had when the Chiefs drafted him out of LSU. He was on that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson championship team, all those guys on that LSU team. He just hasn't really done anything. And then obviously Melvin Gordon, not considered a bust because he was a very good running back in the league, but more so Melvin Gordon's on this list because I did mention he kind of fits that mold of somewhat forgotten players in the league, and he's kind of past his prime. So he's 30 years old at this point, doesn't have that same burst that he used to. And when I was watching him at Wisconsin, elite. Absolutely elite. I was always worried to play Melvin Gordon and the Wisconsin Badgers at that time. The receiving core might be my favorite just because I feel like it's the most realistic one. So we've got, obviously, Jerry Jeudy. Now, I'm not saying Jerry Jeudy's a bust by any means. He just is on a bad Broncos team with he's had bad quarterbacks in the past, and now he's got Russell Wilson, so think what you want about that. There's been rumors abound about him possibly getting traded. He didn't get traded this year at the deadline. Who knows what happens to him in the offseason, but he's still a very good player, very young, and has a lot of potential to develop. It's just he hasn't been really put in the spot to develop. Then we've got Nelson Aguilar. We all know the trials and tribulations that Nelson Aguilar's gone through in his career. Was he on that Eagles team that won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles? He might have been. Noah Brown. Noah Brown's having a career resurgence alongside C.J. Stroud in Houston, but before that, Noah Brown really didn't get much love at all. I mean, he was on the Cowboys for a while. Dak used him a little bit, but not ever to the extent that CJ's using him. And he's also a Buckeye, so that helps. And then we've got Jalen Reagor, just a tremendously awful player, just a bust all around, horrible person, not horrible person, horrible NFL player, I should say. I don't know how he is as a person, but he's bad, very, 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 very bad, very, very, very bad player, and he's on this team. And then we've got one of the greatest Patriot misses of all time, N'Keal Harry. I'm pretty sure A.J. Brown was on the board when N'Keal Harry got drafted by the Patriots. And at the time, I was excited because I thought, a 6'3", 225 big body receiver with decent speed is going to come to New England and be like that go-to guy, but he just was not it. He couldn't catch a football to save his life. And he was bad. So, to be fair, when he was starting to become a primetime piece, the quarterback situation was in flux because it wasn't really Tom Brady, so he's not good, though. He's not good. He's not very good. And that is our receiving core. Offensive line, we've got DJ Humphries, same kind of thing as Melvin Gordon, just past his prime, not very good anymore. Isaiah Wynn, former Patriot, same thing with Ted Karras, just not that good. Get injured a lot. Will Hernandez, I think, was a first-round pick by the Giants? Was he a first? I know he was picked by the Giants. Was he a first-round pick? There's no way he was a first-round pick, right? Awards. He was a second-round pick. So he was at the top, pick 2 of the second round. He was at the top of the second round. That's still a very high draft pick to utilize on an offensive lineman that never really turned out to be anything. And then Jedrick Wills. This could be one of the first controversial ones we have on here. But he had a lot of promise coming out of Bama. and has not really developed into anything on that Browns offensive line. He's kind of been just a guy, so he's on this team. And now the tight end situation. We've got Evan Ingram, who had a rocky start in New York on the Giants, but has kind of become like a solid player in Jacksonville. So I feel like he could be another controversial one. We've got Noah Fant, who had a decent amount of hype, had a good couple games, had a good season or two, but has not really been anything. And then Tommy Tremble. I was a fan of Tommy Tremble when he was at Notre Dame. Thought he was going to be a pretty solid player, but he's not really done anything in the league. And I think he's maybe had some injury history, but he's not been very good. And then the defense. This could be where you see some more controversial ones. The main one that I want to point out right now is Devin White. Now, a lot of you guys be saying, Juice, Devin White's not a bust. He's not a past his prime. I'm not saying he's either of those things. I'm just saying he's not really developed. He's a very good player, but he hasn't really developed. So that's why he's on this team. He hasn't really become what he could be yet, at least. So he's on this team. We've got Emmanuel Ogbah, Christian Barmore, and Marcus Davenport on the defensive line, with Yannick Ngakoue, with Bud Dupree, with Andrew Billings, A'Shawn Robinson, and that is the defensive line. I was going to put Jadeveon Clowney on this list, but I thought that might be a little bit too much of a stretch, so Clowney doesn't make it. The corners are CJ Henderson, who had a lot of hype. I'm pretty sure a top 5 pick? Maybe a top 10 pick at the least, but I'm pretty sure a top 5 pick by Jacksonville. Was it Jacksonville that took him? I think it might have been. And he never turned into the Jalen Ramsey 2.0 that they might have been hoping for. We've got Cam Dantzler Sr., who's never really done anything. I know he's still pretty young, but he hasn't really done anything yet. And then we've got Jordan Lewis, Andrew Booth Jr., and Artie Burns as the corners. Safeties are Trayvon Morag and Bobby McCain, and then Jeremy Chin and Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit's still pretty young. Same thing with Jeremy Chin. Both of these guys kind of fall along the same lines of Devin White, where they're good players. Not saying that. Not saying they're bust. Not saying they're past their prime or anything like that. They just haven't turned into what they want to become, and maybe we can help them along with that. And then the linebackers, we got Dante Fowler Jr., very high pick in the draft by, I'm pretty sure, Jacksonville as well, funny enough. And he never really did anything with them, moved outside linebacker, and is just kind of a solid utility guy now. Jordan Hicks at middle linebacker. Devin Bush is also here. Leonard Floyd, who I think has a Super Bowl ring with the Chiefs. Was he on one of those Chiefs? He might have been. And then DJ Wanham as the linebackers. Those are our players. We've got Jason Sanders as the kicker, and I didn't get a punter because punters really doesn't matter in simulation. So, but Jason Sanders is one of those guys that had a promising season, but has kind of fallen off ever since, and has been a good enough kicker for the Dolphins. That is our team. I'm going to try to not change it that much. We're not really going to sign any free agents. We're not, unless the only free agents we would sign are guys that would fit the same mold. That would be the only free agents that I would look to sign. I'm going to hopefully develop Josh Dobbs. That's the goal. I know he's 28 years old and he's normal development. He's a 66 overall or something like that. But I'm hoping putting him in Kansas City's playbook with decent pieces around him and an okay offensive line. I'm hoping that he can really, really do well and like go up to the high 70s. If he gets a development trade, that'll really, really help as well. But I'm not going to focus too much on the draft because I'm hoping that we're pretty good anyway and we don't have a high draft pick. But I'm not going to do any trading up. This isn't really focused. This rebuild isn't about drafting players or signing good free agents or anything like that. This is about the pieces that we already have established and maybe signing some free agents that fit the same mold. So that's kind of the basis of this rebuild. If you guys have any other suggestions for possible rebuilds similar to this or just any other suggestions in general, leave them down below in the comments and I'd be happy to take them aboard and possibly make them a reality in the future. But without further ado, it is time to start this rebuild. Let's simulate to the end of year number 1. I'm not going to stop at the midseason mark. We're going to go all the way to end of year number 1, and we're going to see how this team does with Josh Dobbs at the helm. We made it to the end of year number 1. We're in the playoffs. Well, we're not in the playoffs. We finished 8-9 on the year. That's actually better than what I expected, if we're being totally honest. Absolutely better than what I expected. I didn't know how this team would do. Josh Dobbs seems to not be developing, which is a little bit worrying. He went up 1 overall, but he takes about 9,000 XP to get him up a level. So I'm hoping that in the offseason he can like get some XP or something. I don't know. We need him to be our guy. Dobbins has some bad morale. That's okay. Oh, I didn't even mention we had Taysom Hill. I put him on here because he's a kind of a meme player, especially in Madden, so I put him on here. Noah Brown is okay. Everybody else is doing all right. N'Keal Harry's going up. Jerry Jeudy's going up. Evan Ingram, because we're in Kansas City's playbook, is going to end up becoming a fantastic player for us. And I might want to switch that to make it Noah Fant, since Evan Ingram is 28 years old and Noah, I think, might be 26. Is he 26? He's 25. So maybe I do want Noah Fant to be the guy, but right now it's Evan Ingram. And then on defense, how we looking here? Bad morale all around. Okay, great, fantastic. But year number 1, we didn't play horribly. We went 8-9, almost made the playoffs actually. Almost won the division, but we couldn't get it done. We'll take a look at the stats once we simulate to the Super Bowl. And I'm expecting us to have a decent amount of money. I didn't do any re-signing during the simulation, so contracts, everybody that needs a new contract. I'm assuming it might be the entire team because we're playing with guys that are like that kind of a player who would only have a 1-year contract. It's Niners and Chiefs, shocker. It's Niners and Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And Josh Dobbs didn't have that bad of a year in terms of yards, but everything else didn't really do great at. He had 22 touchdowns, 14 picks. That's about the kind of splits you would expect from a Josh Dobbs, maybe a little bit too high on the touchdowns. But the yards in Kansas City playbook are definitely helping him out. And then J.K. Dobbins didn't really do much on the ground. At 872 yards is fine. 10 touchdowns. Taysom Hill was a merchant at the goal line, getting 10 touchdowns as well. Evan Ingram in that Kelsey role, he's going to go up to superstar development. 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy almost had 1,000 yards, so that's nice. I hope he goes up to superstar development because we definitely need that. And then on the defense, we had Jordan Hicks with 137 tackles. Maybe that'll get him up to star because he had 4 picks as well. C.J. Henderson actually was up here with tackles. 93, Jordan Lewis 87. Tackle for loss leader was Marcus Davenport with 16. He also had 10.5 sacks. That could be really big for his development. Barmore had 16 for loss and 3 sacks. Agba, who led sacks, it was Davenport with 10.5. Yannick Ngakoue had 5. Barmore 3, 2.5, 1, a couple guys. Jordan Hicks led the team with 4 picks. Jeremy Chin had 3. Delpit had 2. So did Floyd, and a couple guys had 1. Okay, so solid first start, solid first season. But now we move to the ever-important first offseason where we have to see if there's anybody in free agency that can maybe help this team in terms of like a guy that would fit this mold. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl, no surprise there, and we have a ton of money, as you would expect, because we're playing with guys who aren't on max contracts. So we have a ton of money, and we need to figure out what's going to go on here. So season recap, Mahomes wins both the Super Bowl MVP and the league MVP. And it's pretty much the same guys you would expect to see winning all the other awards. Madden's not very creative when it comes to their award simulations in the first season. It's usually the same guys, the same group of guys. Okay, so moving into the offseason, we've got some big things to take care of. Mainly contract negotiations. We have $141 million and 17 contracts to talk about. Jeremy Chin certainly needs to get brought back. I know he doesn't want to be in here. He doesn't like our scheme, but we have enough money to where we don't have to go and change it. We can just overpay. And I want him back anyway, so Jeremy Chin will return to the organization if I give him the right amount of money, and he's coming back. Perfect. J.K. Dobbins, same deal. I want him back, so he doesn't want to be here because he doesn't like that we're not a historic champion. But screw that, J.K. You're coming back. Who else needs to come back? Devin Bush certainly needs to come back. We'll get Devin Bush back. He doesn't like he wants no income tax, and Minnesota has income tax. Minnesota! Let's offer him that. He's coming back. Perfect. C.J. Henderson definitely want back as well. He's not going to be super expensive, and he kind of wants to be here anyway, so let's offer him that. And he's not interested in signing. Really, C.J.? What's the franchise tag? $23 million? I can take that. We can eat that $23 million. That's a little upsetting, but I thought I gave him a decent offer. Maybe the signing or bonus needed to be a little bit higher. I don't know. Something had to be different there. Let's see. Who else? Noah Brown want back. He doesn't want to be here either. He doesn't like any of the stuff that we have to offer. But that's too bad there, Noah, because you are going to sign this contract because I told you to. There you go. Noah Brown's back. Isaiah Wynn will come back, even though I don't really like Isaiah Wynn that much, being a Patriots fan. If we can get him back, that'd be awesome. No, Isaiah Wynn is back. Jordan Lewis, he's not going to be super expensive. So if we give him like 3.5 and 3, he says he's coming back. Perfect for 2 seasons. DJ Wanham is going to come back. So we'll get DJ Wanham back. I like how none of these guys really wanted to be here, but I'm just throwing money at their faces, and they're saying, yeah, sure, we'll come back. He's coming back. DJ Wanham is back. James Lynch, we don't need. Nelson Aguilar, we honestly don't need really, but we might bring him back just because. We kind of do need a little bit of depth at receiver. We don't have that great of depth at receiver. Nelson Aguilar is coming back. Perfect. Troy Dye, I do want back because I do like Troy Dye. I think he's a good player. So Troy Dye will come back. He's coming back. Perfect. We have $41 million, and we can bring back Andrew Billings on hopefully a cheap deal. How about that? He's coming back. Perfect. $35 million. Bud Dupree I want back. So we can offer Bud Dupree something like this, and he should accept. Yep, Bud Dupree's back. And then Bobby McCain I'll bring back as a backup. And he should accept this. He's coming back. Perfect. We got everybody that I wanted back. We don't need to bring back any of these guys. These are just like filler roster spots. So we end up spending a ton of money in renegotiations. We have about $25 million to go into free agency and see if there's anybody that we want. Oh, we have 26.6. Okay, so it adjusted a little bit. All right, so is there anybody that fits the mold that could help this team out a little bit? Deontay Foreman honestly wouldn't be a bad shout. He fits this. He would fit something like this. Maybe even A.J. Dillon would fit something like this. I wouldn't hate having A.J. Dillon on the team. Him and J.K. Dobbins as a duo could be pretty good. But I also like the idea of Deontay Foreman. Both of them fit what we're looking for. Who do I want? A.J. Dillon I think I'm going to go for just because he's 2 years younger. So I'll offer him that. See what he says. He also wanted to be here more than Foreman did. We do probably need a receiver. So who fits that receiver mold? All these guys pretty much do. It's just a matter of who do I want. Probably nobody down here. This is probably a little too low of an overall. So Demarcus Robinson. Greg Dortch wants to be here. Isaiah McKenzie wants to be here. He's got 92 speed. Is he really going to affect the team too much? KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler could be good. I know we're taking another Bronco player, but I'll throw a bid at KJ Hamler. I don't know if he'll accept. We're trying to play against another team here. Against another team. And we are outbidding the Vikings. We don't need tight end. Offensive line, we're pretty solid at, I would guess. Because we probably could get Trey Turner, but I don't want to get that old of a player, especially in the offensive line. Defensive line, Matt Ioannidis fits the mold, but he's not really going to do anything for us. Cleveland Farrell certainly fits, but do I want Cleveland Farrell? Maybe. I'll put an offer in. If he accepts, he accepts. I'll certainly put an offer in. And then on the linebackers, I'm pretty sure we're good with what we have. Anthony Barr, bring back to Minnesota would be cool, but I'm pretty sure we are good with what we have at linebacker. And then corner, not really seeing anybody. I mean, yeah, there was a superstar Kyle Fuller there, or is that Kendall Fuller? It might have been Kyle Fuller. Whoever it was is not going to really matter too much in the long run, so I think we're pretty much good with what we have. We have 3 negotiations, KJ Hamler, Cleveland Farrell, and A.J. Dillon. We're going to go and see if they signed. All 3 accept their contracts, so we bring in those guys to help out the team. That'll be good. We get some nice depth to the roster. Love to see it. Cleveland Farrell might get a starting job. You never know. And we're going to go generate best lineup and then put Josh Dobbs back at the quarterback spot. Evan Ingram does go up to superstar development, so that's good to know. Unfortunately, Jerry Jeudy didn't go up. Then on defense, we've got Davenport, Agba, Christian Barmore. Linebackers are okay. Corners are okay. Nobody goes up in development. Jordan Hicks actually did go. I noticed that. Jordan Hicks did go up to star. But that's going to be our free agency. I said it's not going to be super eventful. It is not going to be super eventful because we're not looking to bring in, although that free agency class wasn't like impactful in any way, really. There wasn't really any huge names or anything, but that's how these free agency classes are going to go in this video. Because we're not really out there looking to make a splash with a big name guy, because that's not the rules of the rebuild, you could say. But on to the draft. I think we're going to have a pick in the high teens, maybe early 20s, maybe low 20s, because we finished 8-9. So I'm guessing maybe a pick 17 to 22 in that range is probably where we're picking. I could just take a look at the mock draft and figure out. So mock draft number 5, we are picking at pick 16. I was one off. We're picking at pick 16. Let's go take a look. I did use my week 11 scouting private workout things, focus player things, on a couple of linebackers and a D tackle, I think. So let's take a look at those guys. So we've got 80% on Jimmy Styles, Matt Smiley, and Walt Morant. All of them looked pretty decent, and they're all in that range where we could draft them. Good speed for Jimmy Styles, AJ's brother. He's got good man coverage, good play rec, good zone coverage. He's a really good pass covering linebacker. If we put him at middle linebacker, he could be really solid. And then we got this guy, Matt Smiley, from the Ohio State University. He's got elite speed. He's got good play rec. What's his archetype? He's a pass coverage linebacker too. I feel like Styles is a better middle linebacker prospect than Smiley, but Smiley's got better speed. And then we've got Walt Morant, who is just a solid all-around D tackle. The only problem is both of these guys are projected to go round 1 to 2, so I don't think we'll be able to get both of them. I think, if anything, I'd take Jimmy Styles over Walt Morant, but they're both solid players. Is there anybody else that I want to focus on, or do I just want to know all the guys already? There are some corners that I would be intrigued to look at. Bryson Stump is a 5'10 man-to-man who has B-zone coverage as well, so that certainly is an intriguing thing to look at. And then we got Perry Farley, who doesn't have the speed, but he's an all-around solid player. I think I want to learn about Marcus Boone. Just doesn't look like he has it. He's not even that good of an athlete. I want to look at probably Bryson Stump, and then probably those guys, like just learn more about these guys. I'm definitely going to take Smiley in the 3rd round, so we're just going to use the last two on Styles and Morant just to kind of solidify who we're going to be taking. And then I want to go to the corners, and I want to put Bryson Stump in the favorites board. Okay, so we only have one first-round pick, so we're going to make a decision on one of those players. But we're certainly going to be in position to take that other linebacker from Ohio State. All right, so we're here at the draft. Let's take a look at our guys, see how good they are. Favorites board. Styles is around 2 to 3. Morant is around 1 to 2, and Stump is a top 5. Why do I always find top 5 talents at corner? Why do I always find it? I knew Stump was going to be pretty good. And Walt Morant also is probably my go-to guy. Oh, what do we do? We need to take a look at the board. They're both round 1 to 2. What's the mock draft say? What does the mock draft say they're going to get taken, if at all? Because if they're going to get taken in the 2nd round, that would help me out. It looks like Walt Morant is going to get taken at 17. So if we want Walt Morant, we got to take him at our pick at 16. But then Stump is not going to get taken in the 1st round. That's very, very intriguing. So we know what we have to do. We have to take freaking the tackle. Although wait. I didn't see what Styles was. I know that he's around 2 to 3, but I want to just make sure, what is his actual projection? Where is he going to get taken? He's going to get taken in the 2nd round, it looks like. Okay, so this might work out where we can get everybody that we want. It's going to be a little tricky, but it might work out. Let's start drafting. We have pick 16, and we know that Walt Morant was projected to go pick 17 to the Raiders. So as long as nobody reaches for him, we should be able to grab him with our pick right ahead of the Raiders. Malachi Hurd goes. Lucas Drew. Seahawks get a quarterback. Marcus Bingham goes to the Bears. Mitch goes to the Commanders. Chris Hammond goes. D'Angelo Leary. Byron Tatum. Alex Steeples. And now the Colts take Combs. So perfect. So he didn't go. So we're going to take him right before the Raiders do. Our guy is going to be here. All of our guys are on the board, but we didn't see Jimmy Styles on there, and we didn't see Bryson Stump. And I know that Bryson Stump's a top 5 talent. I'm hoping he's there in the second round. We're going to take Walt Morant with our first round pick. Hidden development, 6'2". Pretty solid player. 89 strength. Love to see it. Hoping he can develop. And now we got to keep a watchful eye on the last part of this first round and into the second round, because that could be when Stump and Styles go. I really want to get Bryson Stump. I might have to trade into the beginning of the second round just to make sure that I get him, because I don't know. I wish they would do mock drafts for round 2 and 3 and stuff so I could figure out my plan. But we're getting deep into the first round here. Final couple picks of the first round. Stump has not gone. He still hasn't gone. We're into the second round now. There goes Jimmy Styles, pick 1 of the second round. That's okay, because I wasn't really going to take him, and he was around 2 to 3 talent anyway. But here's where I get a little worried. I'm getting a little worried that Stump is going to get taken. So I'm going to call up the Steelers, right? They're the ones that had the pick, I'm pretty sure. It's a high pick. It's pick 34. It's going to be pretty difficult to go up and get it. But if I give them a second round pick from next year, they say no to that. What about if I give them a first round pick from 2026? They really do like that. Okay. And I'm keeping my pick in pick 48 as well. So what about a third round pick as well? Trade accepted. So first and a third in 2026 gets us up to pick 34. So we can take Bryson Stump, who is a top 5 talent guaranteed at corner. And then we will come back and probably take, he's got normal development. Why am I getting unlucky with these corners with top 5 talent being normal development? He is 92 speed, 94 excel. He looks fantastic as a corner, as an athlete. He just doesn't have the development trait. But I think it's worth it. I think it is worth it in the end to get him. We're going to simulate to our next user pick. And I think we're just going to take the guy here, Smiley, because we don't have a third round pick, and he's probably going to be gone before that. So Matt Smiley, we get our guy, and I might move him to middle linebacker because he's a pretty solid speed guy, and he's got decent pass coverage skills. I might move him to middle linebacker. He plays alongside Jordan Hicks maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes. But then we skip to the 4th round because we don't have our 3rd round pick, and I might take an offensive lineman here. That's probably the way that I'll go. Assuming there's any offensive linemen on the board that are good. There could be some centers. There's not really any centers. There is one guard, Cam Winston, who's a projected round 3 to 4 guy. Doesn't look good, and I'm not going to waste a 4th round pick on him. There's got to be a center on the board. Come on, Aaron Ross. He doesn't look amazing. He's probably normal development. Is it even worth taking him? Probably not. But there's not really anybody else that I want. So I'm going to take Aaron Moss, excuse me. And he's going to be bad. He's normal development. He's not going to be a high overall, but we could always use offensive line depth, so grabbing him is not a bad idea. And then we're going to simulate to the end of the draft. Let the CPU handle it. We got the guys that I wanted. We didn't get Jimmy Styles, who, to be fair, probably is faster than, or the better of the pass coverage of the two between him and Smiley. But I think we did come out with a pretty solid draft. I mean, we got a top 5 corner in the draft. And we got ourselves a D tackle as well, who looks pretty good. Stump is a 79, and he doesn't have a development trait. That is crazy unlucky. But both Morant and Smiley are 73s, and then everybody else is kind of just bad, but that's okay. The NFL, we have a 80 overall outside linebacker, and then a couple 79s. We got the 3rd highest rated player in the draft. He's technically joint 2nd because he's tied with a couple other guys, but we got ourselves a pretty good player. And the Patriots got 2 of the 4 highest rated players in the class. They got a running back in the 2nd round and a wide receiver. That's some good scouting. That cannot be Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick would not have scouted that well. I don't know who's drafting over there in New England, but it's certainly not Bill. Okay, we move into year number 2. Still riding with Josh Dobbs. But now we can add these new additions to the team, and hopefully that D tackle helps us out. And I'm hoping he has, like, superstar development. I'm guessing he only has star. I'd be shocked if he had more than star. But let's add these boys to the depth chart and then make Josh Dobbs the guy. All right, we went 8-9 last year. I'm hoping we have just as good things happen this year. Smiley, I'm actually going to have start at right outside linebacker just because he's got the more potential than DJ Wanham. And Stump has actually become our #1 corner. So I'm hoping he can become like a development trait. I cannot believe he doesn't have anything. Even star. I'd take star. I'd be disappointed because he was 79 overall and a top 5 talent. But even if star would be something. But not having anything is crazy. So that's going to be it for this little clip. We're going to simulate to the end of Season 2. I'm hoping that we can continue to build on that 8-9 season in year 1 and maybe make the playoffs this year. I think we got a solid team. We just got it all depends on Josh Dobbs, really. That's all it depends on. So I'll see you guys at the end of Season 2. Hopefully we're in the playoffs. I don't know. We'll find out. We've made it to the end of season number 2. We're in the playoffs actually this time. We are in the wild card. We won the division with an 11-6 record. So this Kansas City and Dallas playbooks are absolutely hard carrying this team and this roster. But I can't say that fully because I'm hoping Josh Dobbs had a good year. And he's up to star development. Joshua Dobbs is finally living up to his deal that we wanted him to become the guy, and he's up to star development. He's up to a 72 overall, but he's playing up to, he's not true 72, but this is very, very good. This is very, very good, the fact that he's playing well, because that's going to make everybody else play well. Everybody's doing good. I'm guessing Evan Ingram's going to be an X factor next season. Defensively, Morant didn't get a lot of play time, but that's because he's a low overall. We'll bump him up a little bit there, and then he'll probably start next season, maybe. We'll see what Christian Barmore does. Stump is an actual 82, playing up to an 83. Smiley's a star development player, but he's getting some good reps. You love to see it. We're starting to come together. You can see the pieces starting to be built, starting to come together here. We've got a playoff game against the Bears. I have no idea how that's going to go. We both had pretty decent seasons, and Josh Dobbs actually finished 3rd in passing yards this year. Insane season from Josh Dobbs. Let's take a look at it. 4,400 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 15 picks. I'm hoping to see that player tag go from bridge QB to franchise QB. I doubt it's going to happen, but we'll find out. Very solid season from Joshua Dobbs. Running back J.K. Dobbins had a really good year, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. That could be superstar development for him. You never know. And Evan Ingram is certainly going to go up to X Factor without a doubt with these numbers. Noah Fant got 10 touchdowns, so he had a pretty productive year. And Jerry Jeudy had an okay year. Not as good as he had last year because Nelson Aguilar had that, but still a pretty good year. And then defensively, 122 tackles for Devin White with a sack and a half and a pick. Okay. Jordan Lewis, 81 tackles again up there. Stump had a good year. I wish he had more picks. I really want him to go up to star. He should be already at star, but whatever. Barmore, 18 tackles for loss, 15 for Davenport, 13 for Agba. Sack leader was Davenport with 9, so was Agba with 9. 5 for Yannick Ngakoue. And then pick leader was Bobby McCain. Really? Okay. With 3. 2 for Delpit, Hicks, and Morig, and then a couple guys had 1, including our rookie, Bryson Stump. Now we've got ourselves a playoff game against the Bears. Can we win it? I doubt it. That's usually how Madden goes. We have a good regular season, then we lose in the playoffs, and that's exactly how it went. I'm not shocked at all. That's exactly how Madden does it. They always give you good regular seasons, and then they screw you in the postseason. That's how it happens. So let's simulate to the playoffs, or to the Super Bowl, I should say. And we can ride this momentum, man. We've got a star development quarterback in Josh Dobbs. We're going to have an X Factor tight end in Evan Ingram. If we can hit on some draft picks and maybe bring in 1 or 2 extra free agents, we can really have a good year next year in year 3. That could be the year maybe we go to the NFC title game. It's Bengals and Eagles in the Super Bowl. Bengals and Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm guessing Eagles? It's Bengals, actually, who win the chip. So congratulations to them. Let's see who won all the awards. I doubt we won any of them. Certainly not a Rookie of the Year award. Joe Burrow wins the MVP of the Super Bowl. We don't win any awards. Dak is the MVP of the league. And Jimmy Styles wins Defensive Rookie of the Year for the Giants. He was on our board. It hurts a little bit to see him win an award for the Giants. I knew he was going to be good, man. He was just so fast. He was always going to be good. And he had really good pass coverage. If we moved him to a middle linebacker, he would have been amazing. He's probably a high overall there. All right, so we got $50 million to work with. And negotiations. We know we're going to have C.J. Henderson because we tagged him last year. Jerry Jeudy, I want back. So we are going to have to pay for Jerry Jeudy to return to the squad, and he should accept that. And he's going to test free agency. Really, Jerry? $20 million for a tag? That's unbelievable. Christian Barmore, I do want to come back, and he wants to be here more so than Jeudy did. So he's coming back, Christian Barmore. Dantzler, Henderson. Oh, we got to pay Josh Dobbs. I better get him locked up. That's our franchise quarterback right here. That is our franchise quarterback. Got to get him locked up. He's coming back, Josh Dobbs. Welcome back. CJ Henderson, I should have had him back last year. I don't know why he rejected my offer. But we'll get him back. And he's coming back perfect. We got him locked up on a big deal. Trayvon Moehrig. This might be the rest of our money, actually, because I had to franchise tag Jerry Jeudy. And he's coming back. Trayvon Moehrig's back. We got $4 million and not a whole lot else to spend it on. I mean, I want to bring these guys back, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I might be able to squeeze in Dantzler with just slight amount of money that I have available. He's going to come back. Okay, so we were able to squeeze in Cam Dantzler, but that's all the money that we have. And now we're going to have to pay Jerry Jeudy next year. So we're not even going to look at free agency because we don't have any money to do anything. So we're just going to go straight to the draft. And I was looking at week 11. I was looking at some of the players in this class, and there's some pretty good offensive linemen down the board, and there is some pretty good tight ends down the board. Now, I know we don't need a tight end, but maybe we could put them at wide receiver and kind of cheat the system a little bit. That could be fun. The highest tight end on the board was around 2 to 3 projection. So there could be a sneaky little drafting 2 tight ends and moving them to receiver. That could be pretty fun. I don't know how that would work, since I think they're both archetyped as blocking tight ends. So that might not be the smartest thing to do, but I'll show you guys. So we've got the tight ends. There also is a receiver here from Ohio State, Dante Boston, who we're not going to be in play for, but I just wanted to point that out that he's a Ohio State receiver. And then we've got tight ends. So we've got Deontay Barton, who is the one guy that I was looking at, and it looks like he actually jumped up the board 29 spots. He was down here last time I looked at him. That's pretty crazy, actually. So some of these guys I'm curious about. I did use a little bit of it on Deontay Barton because I want to know about these guys. He's a possession guy. He looks pretty solid. We could cheese the system a little bit and draft a couple tight ends and make them receivers. That could be pretty funny. Is there an actual receiver down the board that's fast? Because if there's a receiver that's fast, I'll take him, but I don't really want to draft any of these guys anyway. And then there was a couple of offensive linemen. Reggie Henry was one of them that I scouted who looked pretty solid as a guard. And then I think there was a center. Was there a center? Yeah, Anthony Sloan. Anthony Sloan was a guy that I looked at that looked pretty promising. But I think I'm going to use the rest of my stuff on probably a tackle. Is there a tackle? There's only one right tackle, and he's not that good. But there's a bunch of left tackles available. This Hayden Waters guy looks really good. There's a couple guys down the board that could be interesting. You got Jack Nowak. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's around 2 to 3. And then you got some guys down the board. What about Bretton Boyd? He looks a little better. Okay, Bretton Boyd is intriguing. I'm going to use one on Bretton Boyd. I'm going to use one on... who else should we use one on? The center, maybe? I definitely want to use it on the tight ends. I want to know a little bit more about these tight ends. So I'm going to use one on Zeke Fox, and we're going to find out exactly how good Deontay Barton is. Boom. Those are going to be the guys that we look to draft this year. And I'm hoping, praying, that we're in position to get all those guys. None of them are projected to go first round, I don't think. So that's good. I don't think so. If we go to the prospects board, just let me put everybody on there that I want. So Barton, he is a round 1 talent. I figured he would be. I'm going to put all of these tight ends on the board just because we could take any of them, really. We could take any of them, and then we're going to take and put, who else on the board? Bretton Boyd and Jack Nowak on there. We're going to put Reggie Henry and Kovacs on the board probably. We're going to put Sloan on the board. We'll put all the centers on the board. And then there's not really right tackle. Okay, so that's everybody that I want on the board. I don't think any of them are going to go in the first round or early in the first round by any means. So let's start the draft. We have pick 20, so let's skip right to it. And let's take a look at our board. What do we have available for us? What do we have available for us? We have a lot of people on our board. I'm pretty sure it's everybody. All right, I think I'm going to take Deontay Barton because we know he's a round 1 talent. And then we're going to hope that a couple of these offensive linemen are on the board still. Yeah, let's take Deontay Barton with our first round pick, pick 20. Welcome to the team, Deontay. And he might become a wide receiver. He's got 85 speed, 80 excel, 6'5" wide receiver. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. So, Deontay Barton, welcome to the squad. And it helps that he's from Ohio State. Skip to next user pick. Picked 20 in the second round. How many of those guys are still on the board? Don't know. A decent amount of them are. And actually, Zeke Fox is still here, who I was intrigued by. 6'3" possession tight end with great speed. I was intrigued by him, but I don't know if I want to take back-to-back tight ends when we can get a guy like George Dixon, who is also a pretty solid player, in the 3rd to 4th round. So I think we'll pass on Zeke Fox, even though I think he's going to be pretty good or solid. And I think we take Reggie Henry with this pick. Unless Junior Givens is better. Is Junior Givens better? I didn't scout Junior Givens because I didn't think he'd be on the board when we were able to take him. But is he better than Reggie Henry? I mean, he's got more physicals. He's got better physicals than Reggie Henry does. I think Reggie Henry's better. The physicals are really making me think that Junior Givens is better, though. I don't know who's better. I think Reggie Henry's better. I think Reggie Henry's better. We're going to take Reggie Henry with this pick. He is a hidden development player, 6'5", 90 strength, also from Ohio State. I'm not trying to draft Ohio State players, but if it happens, it happens. If it happens, it happens. Round 3 now. How many guys are still on the board from our favorites list? We have not a bunch. Everybody got taken except for Anthony Sloan and Mitch Gibson. Mitch? Which is good because I was going to take Anthony Sloan anyway. So that's good. Let's do it. Let's take Anthony Sloan. Boom. Another offensive lineman drafted. And this time we're actually hitting on the offensive lineman. We're actually making good picks with the offensive line. Now, if Mitch Gibson is still there, I'll take him. I doubt he's going to be. Otherwise, I might just sim out of this pick. And he's here. Okay. Well, I'll probably take him then. Unless this Kyle Arrington guy, who, that gives me nightmare flashbacks, but that name does. But he's not that good. So I think I'm just going to take Mitch Gibson. He was a round 2 to 3 guy. He's fallen here, so he's probably not great. But if he could be a wide receiver for us, I mean, he's got 87 excel, 83 speed. Maybe he becomes a wide receiver and actually balls out. So I got everybody that I wanted, actually. So we're going to end the draft, let the CPU handle the rest, and we are going to go to the end of Season 3 and hope that we can capitalize on being a wild card team and having, 11 wins? I think we can do it, especially now that Josh Dobbs is star development. The progress is starting to come to life here. We do have to worry about Jerry Jeudy being franchise tagged. So we got Barton at 75, Henry at 73, Sloan at 75, Gibson's at 64, that's fine. They drafted a receiver, Johnny Hall. He's normal development, but he's 74 overall. That's pretty good. 89 speed. He's not that fast. And then they got a couple other guys. How good was the class? The class was, the highest player is a 79. That's not that bad. We didn't miss out on too much. It wasn't that great of a class anyway, but we got the guys that I wanted. Well, some of the guys that I wanted. I wanted a few other of those guys, but we just weren't in positions to do it. And we don't really have the assets to be able to trade. Now remember, is this the offseason? Is this the draft that we're not going to have a first round pick? I think it might be. But it's not going to matter because I'm hoping we're going to be pretty good. At least that's what I'm banking on. The fact that we're pretty good. That we're not going to need our first round pick. Let's go. Josh Dobbs, star development. And Evan Ingram, I was right. Evan Ingram is a X Factor. And Noah Fant's actually a superstar, so that's cool. That's really cool, actually. And we've got Jerry Jeudy playing up. We've got Hall actually as a 74. Josh Dobbs is going to be our starter. And our two rookies, Henry and Sloan, starting on the offensive line. Like to see that. And then on defense, Morant is an X Factor. Oh my God, I am a drafting god. I'm simply a drafting god. There's no way he went up, right? No, he was a true X Factor. I'm a drafting god. You cannot doubt me anymore. Oh my God. Walt Morant is a superstar X Factor. That's amazing. Where is Smiley? Smiley's right there. We've got Stump, who I need to go up a development trait. I really, really do. I really want him to go up a development trait. We've got star development on Cam Dantzler. I'd like him to play a little bit more, so we're going to put him above Booth, make him number 3 corner. And this is how we're going to rock for the team in year 3. We'll see how it goes. I really need Josh Dobbs to dominate. I really do. And I might switch some of our guys to wide receivers. So if you see at the end of the season some of the tight ends that we drafted, like Barton is a wide receiver, that's why. So let's go to the end of season 3, into the playoffs, and I'm thinking the boys are only going to get better. Let's go. See you guys then. We finished up year number 3, and we've made the playoffs again, but not only have we made the playoffs, we were the number 1 seed in the NFC at 13-4 and have gotten the bye into the divisional round. You love to see it. Josh Dobbs, I'm guessing, is killing the game right now. He's playing up to a 75. J.K. Dobbins is actually playing well. You love to see that. Jerry Jeudy's up, playing well. Everybody's actually playing well. 2 star development players on the offensive line. That's not that bad. Love to see that. And then on the defense, I really want Stump to be a star development player. I mean, I don't know how he's not already a star development player. Maybe when we simulate the offseason, he'll go up. I really hope so. And it's getting close for Morant to take over Christian Barmore's spot here and become the guy as the D-tackle number 1. And maybe we switch the defense and go to a 4-3 instead of a 3-4, and that works out better. But let's take a look at these stats. Josh Dobbs again finishes 3rd in the league in passing yards. He's just being super consistent. 4,500 yards, 3,200 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Josh Dobbs is the real deal here in year number 3. You love to see it. J.K. Dobbins had another spectacular year. That could be good enough to go up to superstar development. 17 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards, that could be good enough. And then we've got, Jerry Jeudy had a good year. That's exactly what I wanted. He could be up to superstar development as well. Evan Ingram obviously dominating. He's an X Factor. He's amazing. Noah Fant had a really good year as well. KJ Hamler even had a good year. But this is very crucial that Jerry Jeudy had that good of a year. That could be a development trade upgrade for him. Matt Smiley leads the team in tackles with 131 and 11 for loss, 126 and 6 for Devin White. Stump was right up there as well. You love to see that. And then tackle for loss leader was Davenport with 14. Ogba with 13. 12 for Barmore. 11 for Smiley. Sack leader was Ngakoue with 6.5. Ngakoue's been like sneaky really good. Davenport 5.5. Barmore 5.5. And then Stump led the team with 5 picks. He's got to go up. 82 tackles and 5 picks has got to be star development. CJ Henderson also had 4 picks as well. But that's got to be star development. It just has to be. Come on. He should have had it already, but that's got to be star development. And now we take on the Atlanta Falcons. Can we go to the NFC title game here in year number 3? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Boom! Shut him out as well. 28-0. We take on the Philadelphia Eagles here in the NFC title game. Our first trip to the NFC Championship in a long time, but the first one in this video. And Jalen Carter is a 99 X Factor, by the way. I don't know if you saw that or not. This is a big one. For the Super Bowl, can we do it? For a trip to the Super Bowl, we lose 24-10, and we fall in the NFC Championship. That's upsetting. Oh, that's real upsetting, man. I thought we had it here in year 3. We don't get it done. We got to go to year 4 and hopefully win a championship, but we're starting to get real good. And it's not going to matter that we traded our draft pick away because our draft pick would have been bad anyway. Because we were so good. It would have been like in the high 20s. It's Eagles-Dolphins in the Super Bowl. And the Eagles win. So they beat us in the NFC title game and they take it all the way to the Hamptons. They win a championship. Congratulations to them. Even though they beat us. Season recap is Jalen Hurts MVP of the league. We don't get any awards. No surprise there. Jalen Hurts is the MVP of the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league, and I mistakenly said that. Oopsies. Now we've got money. We got to re-sign Jerry Jeudy. We know that. We know we have to re-sign Jerry Jeudy. We have to probably re-sign a couple other guys. We just re-signed Josh Dobbs last offseason, so that's not a problem. But we know we have Jerry Jeudy. Yep, there he is. He still doesn't want to be here because he doesn't like that we're not a historic champion. But we have a franchise quarterback. Josh Dobbs, I think, has gotten the franchise quarterback tag. That's huge. Absolutely huge. But we are going to have to spend a lot on Jerry Jeudy because he's playing actually pretty well. So let's go up to about that. And he's coming back. Perfect. We don't have to franchise tag him. We got him back. Andrew Booth, Ogba. Ogba's been playing well. I probably should bring him back. And then there's actually not that many people that need to come back this season. Cleveland Farrell, maybe. DJ Humphries, maybe. Ogba definitely won't bring back because he's been playing pretty well these past couple seasons. So if we offer him that for 2 seasons, he's coming back. Perfect. Ogba is back. Andrew Booth, I'll bring back just to give a little bit of cornerback depth to the team. So we'll do that. And he will come back. Perfect. $59 million. I probably should bring back Farrell. I do like him. I think he's a solid backup. He's coming back. $53 million. We don't need Billings. We don't really need Bud Dupree anymore. I'll bring back DJ Humphries just to give us like some depth at the tackle position. If he accepts, he accepts. If he doesn't, he doesn't. He's coming back for 2 seasons. Okay. And that's all I'm going to do for negotiations. We have about $40 million, right? Is that what that said? 42? $42 million to fill out the roster in free agency. I'm hoping this is a good roster for like older players that are kind of past their prime. So that's what we're going to bank on. Here we go. Free agency year 3, and this is perfect. Well, probably not. Tyron Smith is still at the top of his game, so we can't really go for him. But Tyrann Mathieu would fit that more so. And so would Kenny Moore. This could be the year we go all out, ladies and gentlemen. This could be the year we go all out. We don't need a quarterback. We don't need a running back. We probably don't need a receiver. Tyler Lockett's still pretty good. We don't need tight end. There's Tommy Tremble. I didn't re-sign him. We're not going to go for Tyron Smith. That's probably not the right idea. But Trent Brown would fit more so the scheme than what's his face? Trey Turner, Collins, Zadarius Smith also probably fits what we're trying to do here. We might just have to go all out, ladies and gentlemen. We might just have to go all out. I really like the idea of bringing in what's his face? Khalil Mack. Is Khalil Mack past his prime? I would think probably we're going to give him a contract. We know how good Khalil Mack can be in simulation for us. We've had that happen before. And I'm going to offer Kenny Moore a deal. I think he fits the system that we're trying to run here. And then who was the other guy? It was Tyrann Mathieu. That's right. So we'll offer Tyrann Mathieu a deal. All these guys could very well retire after next season. So we'll get this money back. But those are going to be some guys that I offer. And then, is there anybody else that I want to throw a deal at? Trent Brown, probably. Let's throw a deal at Trent Brown. See what he says. It's a lot of money for an older tackle. It's probably not going to be that great. But we'll see. Targeted. Those are probably going to be the guys that we go for. Tyrann Mathieu, Kenny Moore, Trent Brown, and Khalil Mack. Evaluation period. Everybody signed. And everybody but Tyrann Mathieu signed with us. So we got Kenny Moore, Trent Brown, and Khalil Mack. But Tyrann Mathieu signed with the Colts. Okay. That's fine. We didn't really necessarily need Tyrann Mathieu, but it would have been nice to get him. All right, so bringing in those pieces is going to certainly bolster this team even further. Adding Khalil Mack certainly helps. Generate best lineup. Josh Dobbs is a superstar development player, by the way. Josh Dobbs has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. He has arrived. Barton is a star development player. I don't know if I showed you that. I don't think I did. The offensive line's looking good. Receivers are looking solid. Josh Dobbs at superstar development, I love. And then on defense, we had Khalil Mack over on that side to pair alongside my Smiley. And I might switch it. Would it be? And Stump. Stump has gone up to star development. And so is CJ Henderson. Let's go. We're getting some development from the boys. And I might try to change this. It says that we're 87 on 3-4 under. What is a 4-3? A 4-3 would only be 60 something percent. 87% on a 4-3. So we can either run a 3-4 or 4-3. I think I'm going to run a 4-3. That gives Morant a little bit of a better chance at starting and playing better on defense. So we got Mac, Devin White, Smiley, and then we've got Morant, Barmore, Ngakoue, Agba, and then our corners are looking really solid as well. Safeties are looking good. I'm liking the way this team is working, boys. This team is going to be a champion. I know it. I can feel it, especially with Josh Dosby in superstar development. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. But now we've got ourselves no first round pick this year. So the draft is kind of going to be a waste. I think we'll just draft offensive linemen this year because we don't really need anything else. We have pretty good depth. So I think that's what we're going to be doing this year, is just draft offensive linemen. That'll probably be the best option. The smartest option. Okay, so we've made it to the recap. Private workouts. We don't have our first round pick. And I don't think we have a third round pick. So whoever we drafted the second pick is going to have to be really, really good. But let's take a look at guards, because guards are probably, or centers, guards or centers are going to be where we get our best players. So Jeremy Jenkins is a round 1 to 2 projection. Looks solid. We've also got Brian Olsen, who doesn't look as good physically, but has pretty solid skills. And then you've got Corey Humphrey. And Corey Humphrey looks okay, but doesn't have the skills the other guys do. Jeremy Jenkins looks pretty good. And then we've got a couple centers. Rob Washington looks really good physically and pretty good skill-wise as well. Then you got Lane Myers, who also looks good physically. I might just use all my draft picks on centers. There's some pretty solid ones available. Lloyd Michaels also looks good. I'm just going to use all the focus stuff on these 3 centers. We're going to learn everything that we can about them because they all look pretty solid. I don't know if we'll be able to get all 3 of them. If we can come away with 2 of them, that would be the ideal thing, because then we can hopefully have one that's a higher overall than Isaiah Wynn. I doubt it, though, right off the bat, because I think Isaiah Wynn's like a high 70 something. I'm not 100% sure what he is. Let's go to the draft and start drafting. We don't have a first round pick. We pick 30 of the second round. Let's simulate to the end of the first round and see if anybody's on the board. So our guys on the board, they are, a couple of them around 2 to 3 projections. One's round 3 to 4. This is going to be tricky if we can come away with them. I hope we can. I think we can. Knowing my luck, we're probably only going to be able to come away with one of them. Are they on the board? Okay, so the first guy got taken, but Rob Washington is here. And Rob Washington looked pretty good. So we're going to take Rob Washington. Hidden development center, 91 strength. That's pretty solid. Now, I highly doubt that the other center we had on the board is going to be there at pick 30 of the 4th round. But he could be. He was around 3 to 4 projection. I doubt he makes it there. If he's not there, we'll probably trade out of the pick. Or, okay, I meant simulate the rest of the picks. That's probably what we're going to do. We got a center. We only got one of them, which is a little bit upsetting, but that's the way that it happens when you don't have a second round pick, or you don't have a third round pick. We had to go right to the 4th round. That's a little upsetting, but it is what it is. I keep simulating the wrong thing. End of the draft. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, so we came away with one offensive lineman that maybe could turn into a guard. He's got hidden development. As long as he's a pretty solid overall, we might be able to make things work here. So let's go to draft recap. What is his overall headed into year 4? He's a 72, so he's not ready to take over for the left guard spot. What if I put him at left guard? Is he still a 72? What is he? So if we switch him to left guard, save changes, bada bing, bada boom, he's a 74 now, so that's perfect. So we'll move him, we'll keep him at left guard, and we'll go from there. The rest of the class had a corner who went number 4 overall at 82, but the rest was not amazing. So I think we came away with a pretty good player there. Hopefully, if we have to make it to year number 5, he can make it there, and he can be the guy for us at starting left guard over Isaiah Wynn. But we might win a championship here in year number 4. Who knows? I'm hoping we win a championship in year number 4. That's the goal. We made it to the NFC title game in year 3. Why not win a championship in year 4? I don't know. But we will generate the best lineup and then have Josh Dobbs be the starting quarterback. And it looks like Noah Fant's going to pass Evan Ingram. That's fine because he could get X Factor this season as well. And this is what the team looks like heading into year 4. We will simulate, and I'm hoping we can dominate and win a championship. I'll see you guys at the end of the year 4 season into the playoffs, where I'm expecting us to be the 1 seed again. We've made it to the end of year number 4, and we are in the playoffs again. This time not as the 1 seed, though. We went 13-4, and we are only the wild card team here, or a wild card team. But this team is promising. Josh Dobbs is developing really well. The offensive line is looking pretty solid. J.K. Dobbins is developing. This rookie that they drafted a couple of years ago, Johnny Hall, who was just normal development, he's developing into a promising young receiver. Noah Fant's turning into something on defense. The defense is just all around pretty solid. I mean, my galaxy brain and my drafting god talents is turning out to be well worthwhile because Bryson Stump is an unbelievable number 1 corner for us. I mean, he was a number 1 corner the moment we drafted him. It was just that normal development. So if we take a look at the stats, Josh Dobbs again finishes 3rd in the passing yards in the NFL, but he had a much better season. And I was right, he did move up from bridge quarterback to franchise quarterback. Joshua Dobbs has arrived. 4,400 yards, 40 touchdowns, 8 picks. That's a really good season from Dobbs. J.K. Dobbins had 890 yards and 10 touchdowns, so a little bit less than the 1,000 yards he was averaging the past couple of years, but that's okay. And then Johnny Hall, I'll give him star development already. I mean, 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, that's absolutely star development for him. Jerry Jeudy was 2nd there with 942 and 10, and surprisingly, Noah Fant didn't finish the top even in the Travis Kelce role, but I think that might not be good enough for him to get X Factor. Maybe it is, but I doubt it if he did it. I doubt he's going to go up to X Factor. The defense, we had Devin White lead the team in tackles with 119. Then Kenny Moore was right there, so that was a good pickup. Bryson Stump was right there as well with 93 and 4 picks as well. I hope he goes up to superstar development. That'd be awesome. Devin White also had 4 picks. Morig was right up there. Delpit. The tackle for loss leader was Barmore with 15, then Davenport with 14. And Walt Morant, our first draft pick of the series, or of the rebuild, 11 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks. He's starting to produce. He leads the team in sacks with 9.5. He's starting to produce at that high level. And Stump and White had 4. Smiley had a pick. All right, the defense is looking pretty good. The team as a whole is looking pretty good. I would doubt we win a championship in season 4. I hope we do. We got to take on the Buccaneers here in the wild card. 8-9 Bucks. They shouldn't stand a chance against us. And they don't. Excuse me. We win the game, and Johnny Hall goes up. So does Rob Washington, the center, I think he is. Then we move to guard. So now we play the Dallas Cowboys. Can we beat the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know. I think we can. I hope. We can. 32-28, and we get a revenge on the Eagles. This is a huge game. This is an absolutely massive game, ladies and gentlemen. Eagles and Vikings, I mean, we got a revenge game, man. They beat us in the NFC title game just last season. So we are back in the NFC Championship against Philadelphia. Come on. Come on. Give us the championship. Give us the Super Bowl. We did it 35-14. We're going to play the Dolphins. So it would have been a rematch of last year's Super Bowl because the Dolphins make back-to-back championship games, Super Bowl games, and the Eagles would have been a rematch with them, but they get beat by us. So in year number 4, Josh Dobbs has led his team to the Super Bowl. This Kansas City playbook with Dallas's defense is absolutely hard carrying us. But the Dolphins, they're 9-8, but they made it to the Super Bowl 2 straight years, so they're not any slouch. This is going to be an absolutely crucial game to win. Can we do it? Let's find out. We're going to jump in and try to help Josh Dobbs and the offense and the team as a whole win a championship. It's Super Bowl time here in this rebuild, and the Dolphins are up 14-0 on us. Okay, that's a little bit scary. Dolphins are driving down again, and it's 21-0. Okay, we are into the second quarter. It is 21-0. Miami is absolutely destroying us. Maybe we're posers. Maybe we're frauds. I don't know, but we're going to try to jump in and help this team get to where they need to be. That could be pass interference, but Josh Dobbs has not played very well at all. That is for sure. I'm a little bit upset that Josh Dobbs isn't playing very well, but it's Josh Dobbs at the end of the day. We're going to throw it deep. It's Jerry Jeudy, big catch, and he breaks a tackle. Jerry Jeudy down the field to the 31. That's a good start. That's a good start. We got our timeout, so we have 2 remaining. And I'm going to try to send KJ Hamler deep. He's on Jalen Ramsey. That's a little bit of a tough matchup. I got to throw it. Jerry Jeudy up in the air. Deflections. I didn't have anybody open. Nobody got open on the slants. That was just a tough break to have there. Nobody got open, but Noah Fant could get open right here. There is a possibility in that. Noah Fant did not get open, and Josh Dobbs, I'm still in the pocket. My key read was Noah Fant, and he didn't get open. So I had to throw that away. I didn't want to take the sack, but maybe I should have taken the sack because that would have been probably less yardage lost than the penalty. It's not looking good for the boys, but Dobbs delivers a huge ball right there to, was it Johnny Hall is his name? I think that's what his name is. And we can't kick a field goal, can we? I mean, in the Super Bowl, we probably have to take our points. But that's brutal, the fact that we couldn't get a first down there. Sanders drills it, but 21-3 in the Super Bowl. We couldn't risk it, could we? We couldn't absolutely risk it. So now we've got the ball again. We got the ball to start the second half. And we've got to find our way into the end zone here. It looks like Josh Dobbs has X Factor. I just noticed that now. Josh Dobbs has X Factor, and he's got Escape Artist. I'm not sure why he has Escape Artist. He's not, like, super fast. But he does have Escape Artist. Jerry Jeudy might have to be my go-to guy. Although I'm going to check this down to Dobbins. Dobbins drops it off his hands. I don't know if Jerome Baker affected that enough. He must have. Because that really should have just been caught. I keep seeing 18 out there, and I keep thinking it's Justin Jefferson, but it's just the rookie, or the second-year guy, whatever he is. Dobbins stay in bounds, couldn't keep him in bounds. I tried. It's 3rd and 4 now. Dobbs looking for a penalty call. Didn't get anything. Oh, man, I can't believe the Dolphins put up 21 points on us already. That's a little check down. Dobbs can't deliver. It's inaccurate. I feel like I'm playing with dirty Dom Clayton right now. It's 4th and 4, but it's the Super Bowl in the second half. We got to go for it. We got to go for it. There's literally no more season after this, so we have to go for it. It's incomplete, and the Dolphins are probably going to win the Super Bowl. That's upsetting. We just didn't have it this year, did we? We just didn't have it this year. We get nothing there. Dolphins score again. We get nothing. We can't put any points on the Dolphins. It's 35-3. We were severely outmatched by Miami. Severely outmatched. Dolphins win the Super Bowl. That's crazy. We got blown out by the Miami Dolphins. I feel like we were the better team, though, but not on that game, that's for sure. Maybe throughout the season we were the better team, but not during the Super Bowl, that is for sure. But now we know we have an X-Factor quarterback in Josh Dobbs, and we have hopefully some more development. So we'll go through one final draft, or one final offseason. Year 5 is going to be the end, no matter if we win or lose. Year 5 is going to be the last season we do this. So if we win the Super Bowl, awesome, we completed the rebuild. If we don't, we don't. I think we can. I hope we can, at least. But we'll find out. We will find out. Nobody of importance in the season recaps, anything like that. And we've got $100+ million to spend on somebody. Probably some negotiations for new contracts, I would guess. That's probably where most of our money is going to go. let's take a look. 18 players. We've got, obviously, Walt Moran. We're going to accept the option. Grant Delpit will probably pay. Devin White's now up to superstar. Okay, so we're definitely going to bring back some of these guys for sure. Let's just get Jason Sanders back because we need a kicker. So Jason Sanders is back. Let's get Grant Delpit re-signed. Just got to bring back the entire team so we can run it back for another season and hopefully have a good amount of money left to maybe go all in somebody in free agency. I don't know. Luckily, Devin White wants to be here a little bit. So if we offer him that, he accepts. We have $90 million. We'll offer Davenport a contract, but it's not the biggest deal if Marcus Davenport doesn't come back. We'll offer him that and see what he says. He's coming back. Perfect. KJ Hamler, I'll offer a deal to because he's pretty solid of a player. So we'll offer him that. He's coming back. We'll get Adonis Ashe just because I don't know who he is, but he's got star development, so we'll offer him a contract. Boom, he's coming back. AJ Dillon, we don't need. DJ Wanham, we don't need. Jonah Williams, we don't need, I don't think. Jackson Carman, no. Isaiah Wynn, not anymore. Yannick Ngakwe's been solid for us, so I'll bring him back on a cheaper deal because he could be some nice depth for us. And then A'Shawn Robinson, we don't need. Jordan Hicks is really bad. We don't need him anymore. And that's about it. That's everybody that we want to bring back. So we still end up with a good chunk of money in cap room. We've got $61 million in available cap. So we're sitting in a good spot here for year 5. Or the year 4 offseason, I guess. I really thought we were going to win the Super Bowl there. But then the Dolphins, man, they got out to that hot start, 21-0. We couldn't do anything with it. And we couldn't move the ball in simulation either. Okay, who's available in free agency that we can go for? Jaden Reed, no, doesn't fit our thing. Deron Payne, no. Jabril Peppers does, but he's not really worth it. Zadarius Smith. You know what? As much as some of these guys could help us, I don't know if any of them really fit what we're trying to do here, and they're not that high of overall anyway. I think we just ride it out with what we have. I don't really think that there's much to upgrade with the free agent class that's available. I mean, we got Washington now playing there. We've got X Factor Noah Fant. The offensive line's looking pretty good enough. Receivers are looking good. Hall goes up to star. Dobbins is playing well. I mean, this team is rocking. Devin White's now a superstar, like we mentioned. Devin Bush, Smiley. Maybe we do need one pass rusher instead of Ngakwe. But other than that, I don't think we need really anything else. So we're just going to, let's sign one defensive lineman. And maybe if there's a corner that's higher than the corners, the higher overall than what we have already, but I don't think there is. So Zadarius Smith is the highest overall defensive lineman. So I'll offer him a contract. A 1-year deal. We only need him for this season because we're not going any further than year 5. We'll offer him that, and hopefully he accepts. And then we'll take a look at corners. Kendall Fuller, DJ Reed, Murphy Bunting. Let me get Murphy Bunting, maybe. Yeah, let's go for Murphy Bunting. At least offer him a contract. So let's do that. See what he says. And that is above everybody else. Perfect. So let's do the evaluation. We got Zadarius Smith and Sean Murphy Bunting. So we bring Zadarius Smith back to Minnesota. That's pretty cool. We got ourselves 2 solid players to add to the defense, which is really the thing that we needed the most was the defense. And if we go generate best lineup, then we've got Zadarius. They want Zadarius Smith on the outside. Okay. I don't hate that because then that has Devin White move back into the middle and then Smiley. I don't hate that. But then we still don't have anybody to play right end. It's over Ngakwe. Is there another free agent that's a higher overall than a 76 playing on the right end spot? Carl Lawson, 77. It's not really much difference, so we're just gonna let it ride with what we have. That's gonna be our free agency. It's not really eventful, but we didn't really need it to be eventful. There wasn't anybody there. We brought in a couple nice pieces. Zadarius Smith now starts at right outside linebacker. Devin White moves in the middle. And this team, I think, is ready to go. I think we're ready to make it back to the Super Bowl. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. It's not like we can have a season derailed by injuries or anything. Injuries are off. So we just got to ride it out. We just got to ride it out, hope that we continue our good streak of having big wins, and 13-4 this past season, year 4. Let's go for, I don't know, 14, 15 wins in year 5. I think that's achievable. I wouldn't put it past us. Now, this year, we don't have our first round pick. We talked about that before. So, what are we going to do? I don't know, if we're being totally honest. I honestly don't know. I don't even know who I used my Week 11 stuff on. Who did I use my Week 11 stuff on? I honestly don't remember. Did I even do it? I might not even have done it because we didn't have our first round pick. It doesn't look like I did it unless I did it on... I didn't do it on a corner. I might not even have done it. Now that I think about it. I don't know. That's okay. It's not like we need anybody in the draft anyway. I'm just going to go. We don't need... Draft doesn't matter. Year 5, these players aren't going to matter. So we're just going to go to the draft, take whoever's available, and hopefully go. I might even just sim the draft, depending on what we have. I might even just sim the draft. So let's start drafting. We have round 1, pick 31. How did we get a first round pick? I thought I traded my 2026 pick. Or maybe this is 2027. Are we in 2027? I don't know. I have no idea. We're not going to do the draft. These picks are not going to matter, these players. So we're just going to let the CPU handle it, and we will ride it out to year number 5 and hope that we can get back to a Super Bowl and hopefully not play against the Dolphins. Although maybe we should want to play against the Dolphins, get a little bit of revenge. That could be something. All right, how good did they draft? Did they draft us any unbelievable talented players? They got us a D-tackle, Devin Farr, who's 74, but everybody else was a miss, basically. They might have development traits, but at least right now they're a miss. And then we've got a right guard was the highest overall at 83, then an 82 left guard. Wow, there was some good offensive linemen in this class. There were some pretty good offensive linemen in this class. Riley McCord. Oh, God, I'm having Ohio State nightmares right now. All right. We didn't get really anything in the draft, but that's not that big of a deal because I like the team that we have. I think we're pretty good. I think we can win a championship. But like I said, year number 5 is it. If we win a championship, awesome. We got the rebuild done. We won a championship. If we don't, we're not going any further. So if we don't, we don't. But this is the team we're riding out with. They want Dobbs to drop down. He's a 71. I know he's getting a little bit older, but Dobbs is our guy. He's an X factor. I need to get rid of escape artists from him. He needs to have Bazooka. Let's give him Bazooka for fun. So that is our quarterback. The rest of the team around him is good enough to get the job done. We're going to move Hall up to number 2 receiver. Dobbins is looking good. The defense is looking pretty darn tasty. Where is Zadarius Smith? They moved Zadarius Smith down. All right, well, this changes some things. No. I like it the way that it was. I like it the way that it was before. We're going to edit Zadarius Smith, make him a right outside linebacker, and then he should go back up and start there. Perfect. I like that. And then I want Farrell, fine, starting at left end. It's either him or Agakwe. It doesn't really matter. All right, the team is looking pretty good. We brought in Murphy Bunting to be a 4th corner. I like that. The defensive line looks good. The linebackers look good. The team is Super Bowl ready for year number 5. I hope we can get there. I'm going to simulate to the end of season 5, to the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. I'll see you guys then. We have made it to the year 5 playoffs. This is it. Whether we win the championship this year or not, this is it. 5 years is all we're going to have to rebuild this team. And I feel like we've rebuilt it pretty well. We finished year 5 14-3, made the 1 seed, won the division, obviously. We dominated the division. The best team other than us was 8-9 Lions. We were the 1 seed in the NFC and got to the division round against the Falcons, where we are right now. But let's take a look at how our older quarterback at this point, Josh Dobbs, is playing. So he does drop in production slightly. 4,000 yards, 36 touchdowns, 10 picks. Still pretty good efficiency-wise. 68% completion percentage, over 100 yards per game, over 200 yards per game. Averaged about a 107 rating, QB rating. Still a very productive season. He's just getting a little bit older, and he's not that great of an overall in the first place. J.K. Dobbins had a pretty solid year, 1,000 yards, 18 touchdowns. Johnny Hall is emerging as maybe our number 1 receiver at this point. I mean, he's out of this world right now. 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, led the team. Didn't get as many touches as like Noah Fant, but that's because Noah Fant's in the Kelsey role. 1,000 yards for him, 10 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy kind of dropped in production a little bit, but it seems like he was still getting a heavy amount of touches. He got 9 touchdowns as well. And then on the defensive side of things, Devin White led the team with tackles, not surprising, 132. 103 for Kenny Moore. He's also getting a little bit up there in age. Matt Smiley, I'm liking how good he's been playing. He hasn't really like broken out as like a high overall or anything, but he's just been a very productive player for us. He's always at the top of one of these lists or one of these stats every season that he's been in the league. So he's been a very productive player for us. 7 for loss for him. Morig had 78 tackles. Tackle for loss leader was Cleveland Farrell, really. 17 for loss for him. Maybe this is his breakout season because he had 7 sacks too. If we were going to go year number 6, he might be a star development player. 13 tackles for loss for Zadarius Smith and 6.5 sacks out of the coming off the edge. That's pretty good. I like that. Davenport 13, Barmore 12. Walt Morant, one of my favorite picks in this video, had 11. Sack leader was Farrell with 7. Then Smith, Barmore, Walt Morant had 5.5. Pick leader was Devin White with 6. And the middle linebacker spot, people must have been like checking down or something, throwing across the middle, just picking it off. Kenny Moore had 5. Chin had 3. Bryson Stump had 2. But that's okay, because he still had a pretty good season overall. And now we ride into the playoffs. We ride into the playoffs, going up against the Falcons. We got to get back to the Super Bowl, get revenge. I don't know if it's going to be on the Dolphins, but we got to get back to the Super Bowl. And we do beat the Falcons 31-25. We're taking on the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if we can beat them. They're better than us, at least on offense. Bryce Young is an X factor. He's a 97. He's starting to become like a franchise quarterback, starting to become one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Can we do it? I think we can. I don't know, though. This is going to be pretty tricky. I probably should spend some of my staff points, shouldn't I? I have a lot of them. I don't know if any of them can help me in this game. I don't think they can. I mean, I can spend them on the offensive coordinator, maybe. I don't know if that's going to do anything. How about we spend... I mean, we have over 800 of them. We might as well spend some of them. Maybe they can give us any bit of help that we can in this NFC title game, because we're going to need it. We are absolutely going to need it. So I might as well spend... And these stat points aren't going to go anywhere else. It's not like we can spend them next season, so we might as well spend them now. And we have to make sure we have X Factor turned on in case we jump into the game, for sure. I don't know if we have... Do we have any X Factors? Is Josh Dobbs is an X Factor? Or he is. I think Josh Dobbs is an X Factor, but he doesn't have any abilities except for his X Factor ability. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Let's go down the left side of the tree for this one. Like I said, I don't know if this is going to do anything in the game, in the simulation. I doubt it will. But we're going to do it anyway. Might as well spend the points, like I said. Might as well spend the points. And I feel like the offense needs a little bit more help than the defense. That's why I'm focusing so much on the offensive coordinator. Which side should I go down here? Let's go for the quarterback side of things, because Josh Dobbs can use all the help he can get in his older age. I'm surprised at how well Dobbs has developed, especially getting put in the Kansas City playbook. He really, really helped. And we know that any tight end is going to do well. You could have a bum tight end, and they're still going to do well. So I'm happy that he's done well. But Josh Dobbs, I'm surprised he's gotten up to like the high 70s. It's pretty nice. But now it's time. We got to take on the Panthers. 11-6 versus 14-3. On paper, we should win this, but I don't know. It's going to be tricky. Here we go. And we win 24-17. That's massive. We will go back to the Super Bowl for the second time. Can we win it this time, or will we fall short once again? We're going up against the Colts. They're 10-7. Kenny Moore's former team. This is going to be tough. This is certainly going to be tough. That is for sure. I don't know if we can do this, but we're going to jump in and try to help the team out. Obviously, last year it didn't help that we jumped in because we didn't do anything. But maybe this is a new season, a new opportunity. They're 10-7, but they've gotten to the Super Bowl, so they're obviously on a roll. Let's go see if we can make a difference and win that ever so elusive championship. We're actually in Tampa Bay for this Super Bowl as the Colts lead 7-0 here. We tie back up 7-7. They get a field goal, 10-7. Another field goal for us, 17-10. I don't really like this, but it's 24-10. Come on, team. We can't lose. We can't lose. Back to back. It's 31-10. It's ball game. It's Jover. It's absolutely Jover. We're not going to be able to do it, boys. We've gotten the team to back-to-back Super Bowls, but when we get to the actual game, we're just buns. We're absolute cheeks when it counts. Dobbs can't deliver on the Jerry Jeudy rollout pass. The defense just dies when we get to the Super Bowl. I don't know what it is. Our defense is the strong suit of this team. I don't know who's who. I didn't have buttons on the field. That's one of their abilities. I didn't have my buttons on the field, so I didn't know who X was. I guessed wrong. And that is going to be the game, man. We're not going to come back in this. We're already down 31-10. I know it's only the third quarter, but that's frustrating. I've gotten the team so close multiple times, and we just can't put it away. We lose again. Like I said, if we won, we won. If we lost, we lost. We're not gonna go any further. That's upsetting. That's very upsetting, the fact that we lost both Super Bowls. We couldn't get it done. I guess a team full of busts and guys that are past their prime and guys that are overlooked can't win a Super Bowl in 5 years of development. Man, I feel like we could do it. I wonder if Josh Dobbs is the one holding us back. I wonder if it really is the quarterback holding us back. Because I know that our defense is allowing a lot of points in back-to-back Super Bowls, but I don't know if we're not really giving the defense a lot of chances or a lot of time to breathe because our offense isn't really staying on the field very much. So maybe it is the quarterback. We do win Coach of the Year. That's cool, but unfortunately, we could not get it done. 5 seasons we tried. We failed twice. We went to the NFC Championship 3 different times in this 5-year span. We went to 2 Super Bowls, played the Dolphins, lost, played the Colts, lost. Unfortunate, but hey, I've put this Vikings team in a pretty solid spot, even though they're full of, like, not great players. They're not full of amazing players. The team on, like, the draft picks I like the guys that we got, but Josh Dobbs, I don't know what's wrong with this team. I'm not really sure. I mean, I drafted a really solid offensive line. I like the offensive line, although we have Henry playing 2 different spots because we don't have a right tackle. But I like Barton, even though he didn't get a lot of play time. I like Hall. Johnny Hall, I didn't even draft Johnny Hall. He was a normal development auto-generated or auto-drafted guy from the CPU, and he turns out to, it's another video. I don't know how many videos in a row it's been where I've done a rebuild and the CPU's drafted me an unbelievable player. Now, in those videos, they were usually like X Factor, superstar development players, but this one, he was normal development. He just developed because we were in the right playbook. He looks really good. He really does look pretty good. He just hasn't really, we couldn't get it done. He was kind of up by himself, I guess, because Jerry Jeudy, I mean, he turned into something, but he never got higher than star development. Obviously, we knew the tight ends were always going to be good. I drafted pretty solid offensive linemen, and then on defense, I mean, Smiley's up to superstar development. Matt Smiley, one of our first draft picks, I think he was the 2nd round pick, or maybe he was the 3rd round pick. I can't remember that first draft, and he turns out to be pretty good. He never really like broke out and had an amazing season, but he was always a pretty solid player for us. Obviously, we turned Jeremy Chin into a superstar development. Devin White is a superstar. Zadarius Smith got back up to X Factor. Walt Morant, X Factor off the rip. What a stud he was. He was a low overall at the beginning, but he's really turned it on. He's really clicked once that XP started flowing in. And Farrell's up to a star development. I mean, this defense has got promise. And then the guy that was a top 5 talent who we took in the 2nd round in the first draft and normal development has really become what we knew he was going to become. He just didn't have that early going progress with the development trait. But I like this team. I feel like this team, if we had a different quarterback, I mean, look at that. Josh Dobbs is playing he's playing up 9 morale. So he's really a 70 overall. But because we have such good morale, we just played in the Super Bowl, he's got +9 morale. That you never see that on a quarterback. I really do think that this team could have won both of those Super Bowls if we had a different quarterback under center. I really do believe that. But that is going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said at the beginning, if you have any ideas as to other rebuild ideas like this, similar to this, or just rebuild videos in general, leave them down below in the comments. I'd be happy to possibly take them on in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.